And it seems like every time you turn around, it's about some romantic, la la story about,
But isn't that nearly
all
every movie and every story on TV? It just
every
gets more
holiday.
sickening. Yeah, all I mean, year round.
The Best Is Yet to Come is a podcast about dating later in life. It's co-hosted by Tonya Carter, Brenda Yamas, and me, Richard D'Ambrosio. We're all exploring dating from a fun but sophisticated, sexy, and smart perspective. And we're going to be tackling every issue that mature men and women face while seeking love, companionship, and yes, sex. So you can follow us on our private Facebook group and on our YouTube page. Please join us in this discussion about one of the most important things a human being can have, a relationship with a significant other. Welcome to episode 16 of The Best Is Yet to Come. We are here in the middle of December. The holidays are upon us. The last couple of weeks, Brenda and Tonya have taken us through quite a few different scenarios, cuffed for the holidays, where you're stuck with somebody you didn't want, coupled for the holidays, where hopefully you're with somebody you want to be with, and how do you navigate that? And for this episode, we're talking about, what if you don't have somebody? How are you going to spend the holidays to improve yourself as a dater, to learn things about yourself, to set yourself up for success in the future? And with me today, as always, is the lovely Brenda Yamas. Brenda, correct me. Do I use like a J for the L's? It's Brenda Yamas?
I would say yes, but I'm the wrong person because I speak Spanglish.
Okay.
So I just tell people like pajamas without the PA.
Okay. Well, there's Brenda. And of course, Tonya Carter, our Georgia
Hello.
peach. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. How are you guys this evening?
Looking
Good.
forward to the holidays. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be taking off the week of Christmas. You will not see us the week of Christmas. We will have an episode right before New Year's to kind of ring in the new year and hopefully wish all of you dating success, relationship success for the coming year. And we will each be bringing our top tip for success in 2022. So, guys, all of us have spent time during the holidays single. We've all been in relationships during the holidays. We've all been single during the holidays. Frankly, I was in a marriage where I was pretty much single during the holidays because that's the way it
That
was.
has to be the worst. That
Oh, it
has to be the
was.
worst.
Hanging out in the den with the kids and the doggies in the blanket. Remember the piggies in the blanket?
Oh yeah.
Those were my New Year's for about 4 years straight.
Wow.
It was kind of pitiful.
Mm.
I loved being with the kids, but there's something lonely about New Year's Eve with screaming 7 and 12-year-olds. How do you guys feel about the holiday season and being single? Is it a neutral thing to you, a positive thing? So many people see movies and there's books that paint the holidays as a time of romance where you meet somebody, find somebody, yada yada yada.
Oh, Brenda, I'm still thinking.
She's still thinking.
Oh man, for me it's a little different, right? I have a military background where
Right.
we learn that every day is a holiday, right? We learn to cherish every day because, there were many Christmases or holidays that we were not with our loved ones.
Right.
So I want to say it's like another day, but it is not, right? It's Christmas. It's a big deal, especially for us Christian families, for our Christian family, right?
Right.
But the truth is that I have spent a lot of years away from family. So I don't feel the same pressure that many other people feel that, oh my God, I must be with my family and I must do this and do that. Frankly, I am looking forward to it because I am seeing it. I am taking it as a little bit of a break. My daughter's going to go with her dad, and it would ideally I would be able to drop her off and I will go to a cabin in the mountains and sip some hot cocoa in front of a fireplace alone, and that would be ideal just to reflect, right, on my year, what went right, what went wrong, what do I need to do next year, which actually I'm doing a little workshop about that because I feel like you have to sit there and just really take stock of what happened. And so I think that's the best. That's probably the thing that I'm looking forward to, is just having quiet time to go over everything that happened in the year. Yeah, I that's how I'm choosing to navigate it. You know, I'm not focusing on the fact that I don't have, you know, a partner. I don't want that to make that a focus at all.
How about you, Tanya?
I'm pretty much the same. I'm at peace, so I'm okay. I think I'm going to reflect on my business plans for the next year and sort of hang out.
Mhm.
I don't think Anastasia's coming over. I don't know. I need to ask her, but I'm just hang out. I'm just at peace, and I don't feel the need to. I don't know. You know what, Richard and Brenda? It just depends on how I feel when I turn off this microphone and someone calls me. Right now, I want to stay home. I'm at peace. But if someone asks me to come over, I probably won't. But
Now, when you say come over, are you talking about a friend or are you talking about a friend?
oh,
Mm.
child, I'm not talking about somebody's raggedy son. I'm talking about they're gonna come over here and take all my peace away. No, I'm just talking about family members.
Right.
Family members.
I mean, last year I was single. I mean, I formally broke up with the woman that I was seeing for about 3.5 years, right around the holidays. It was, January-ish. So last year was a single kind of holiday. And like Brenda said, I took a lot of stock, and there were a lot of other things going on. Of course, COVID was miserable, making our industry miserable.
Mm.
We had lost a couple of friends last year, not necessarily COVID. And one of the things that I think I was able to do during the holidays last year was kind of ground myself back in on the things that the holidays mean to me, and
Mm.
not make it about what am I getting my girlfriend for Christmas, and whether or not we're going to go to Christmas parties together. And it was kind of nice to just be in my own head for the holidays last year. And I'm a dad of 3 kids, so they took up a lot of my mind space. But I think I came out of December last year really focused on just me. And when the last person that I was dating, we formally broke up in January, I was so ready for that.
Mm.
It didn't hurt to say goodbye to this person. Meaning, it hurt that the relationship was over, but I wasn't only focused on what I was losing, I was focused on where I was going. And I think that is one of the nice things about the holidays, is that it's followed by New Year's Eve, and it is a symbolic turning of the page. And
Mhm.
I really, to anybody out there who's single right now and thinking of all the famous movies of, people falling in love during the holidays or whatever, just because you're not living in a movie doesn't
No
mean you
one
can't,
is.
doesn't mean you can't
Mm.
fall in love with yourself this holiday season. And if you do, you are setting yourself up for a phenomenal year, because when someone sees how much you love yourself, it makes it so much easier for them to want to be in your life. So,
Mhm.
give yourself that gift this holiday season. Like Brenda said, give yourself the time, the focus, just the concept that if this is the season of giving, how much you're giving to yourself,
Right.
to take it, stop it from being external all the time, and draw it back in on yourself. How much do you guys think people and their loneliness and their unhappiness comes from movies? Pop culture. Mariah Carey, all I want for Christmas is you. Is it, does culture just like indoctrinate us that the holidays have to be about someone in your life?
I think it does. My friend Dana and I always laugh. We laugh about this all the time. We were neighbors. We lived right across the hall from each other, just really good friends. And we were just doing, wrapping gifts for our daughters, just hanging out. We had the Christmas music going on. We were drinking whatever we were drinking. I mean, we were so happy. And then the damn emotions, What Do the Lonely Do for Christmas comes on, or whoever sings that. And
Mm.
we're just singing, and she starts, what do they do? Then we just look at each other and burst out crying. Because we two
Oh.
idiots at this point. We're like, What the hell? So y'all turn the slow music off. Don't listen to What Do the Lonely Do for Christmas. I
Right.
think we have to be aware of the movies and the songs because they can make you happy or they can make you sad.
Right.
Any slow music, any love, anything, just turn it off. You know, we still
It's
laugh about that. We're our daughters were about 4 years old, and our daughters are now
oh
26 and
wow.
27. So this is how long that's been, but we still laugh like, what was wrong with us? It was
Me-
the music. We were dancing and having a great time. Wasn't thinking about relationships until the song came on. It's
Right.
like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah.
Turn it off, guys. Turn it off.
I totally agree with you. And Thanksgiving Day, or the day after Thanksgiving, our local pop station went straight to Christmas music all the time.
Oh,
Mm.
God.
It's like, oh
Look at
no,
Richard.
oh
It's
no.
like,
Can we not? Can we not? It is.
Well,
There's a lot of pressure. And what's that famous movie that came out 8 or 10 years ago, where it's literally all about? Didn't it take place in England? I think. And
what was the
talk
movie
about
about?
it was it was one of those movies with like 15 famous actors and actresses, and they're coupled up with each other, and there's all these different storylines going on, and at the end, of course, there's the big love. The
Mhm.
couple gets together at the
Oh
airport or something.
yeah, what's his name? The comedian Steve. What's his name was in the movie.
It's gotta be.
I can see it in my head now.
But
I'm gonna be thinking about
but
this
like
movie.
I know people who turn on these movies this time of year, and it's all about that. I mean, at least the Dickens Christmas Carol's, really not about love. It's about, a second chance for Scrooge. And turn that on. Turn on It's a Wonderful Life, where Jimmy
Yeah.
Stewart, where what's his character's name in It's a Wonderful Life,
I
guys?
thought it was just George something maybe.
George, yes. Where George realizes that life is wonderful, and that the whole community loves him. And, he had to waken up to love himself. Maybe you need to turn those movies on.
Mhm.
I'm one of those people too, Tonya, who will listen to the Eagles. Please come home for Christmas, if not for
See?
Christmas, for New Year's Day. Yeah, I'm one of those guys too.
Yeah. Don't make yourself
Don't
sad.
do it. Don't do it. Turn
No.
it off.
Was it
It's like
Love Actually? Y'all know I can't leave
Love
out Love
Actually. Yes, that's the
uh
movie. Yeah.
I gotta think of this
Thank
movie.
you.
but it's like, guys, why do we romanticize this? Like the
It's a
season
great
is not even
question.
about that, right? We romanticize it. It's just nothing but a more marketing machine, right?
Yes.
Because everybody is spending more money.
Yep.
And maybe that's what it is, right? The whole psychology of it is you're happy, your family, they're so important. You must gift everyone a gift. You
Yeah.
must spend all this time. You must buy all these things. When, I mean, we're Christians, and if somebody's from a different denomination, obviously they celebrate something different, but it's not about us and
No.
buying stuff. It's about the religious significance that we celebrate. And it seems like every time you turn around, it's about some romantic, la la story about,
But isn't that nearly
all of
every movie and every story on TV? It just
every
gets more
holiday.
sickening. Yeah, all I mean year round.
Yeah.
Nothing sells
So
better than sex and love. So I
There
think
you
it's
go.
just I don't think it's shown anymore at Christmas. It's just like magnified when you're home
Yes.
and you're lonely. And like I told you about the one time I was on the date with the guy, I was like, if I'm gonna walk out the movie theater and leave him in the dark because he had gotten on my nerves just breathing. And we're out walking, and I see this woman looking at us. He grabs my hand, and you can see her face is like, I guess she thought we were in love. I was like, girl, listen, we can age easily. So I think my point is we're watching someone's outside, and we don't really know what's going on inside. When you get
so
into most of these
true.
households, everyone's warring. Everyone's at war. No one's getting along. Someone's fussing because they didn't get the gift they want. It's all a facade. That's
Money arguments about how much money people are
yeah.
spending
It's
that
all
they
a
don't really
facade.
have.
People aren't as happy as they
It's
pretend to be.
Yeah, I remember one year when I was married, I remember going to Christmas Day taking my daughter with her family, and inside I was just miserable. And I was trying to do my best to show outwards that I was okay and I was enjoying it. But it's like that was the last thing I wanted to do was sit there with, with everybody. So I say bump that, you need to understand, like you need to be happy for yourself. You need to be comfortable with yourself, right? And if it means you just sit at home and watch a movie that, Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, then
That's what it means.
exactly, it's not the end of the world.
We got to stop feeling like we owe people more. You don't owe anyone but yourself.
Absolutely. And and yes, people are, families, the pressure, they're always asking, oh, when are you going to get married? Oh, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? And it's like, if that is so uncomfortable, don't even subject yourself to that. Just don't even go. Excuse yourself.
How do you guys navigate things like you get invited to a Christmas party and you go alone because you don't have anybody to take with you, or do you invite a girlfriend, or do you invite just a friend? I mean, there are situations where all of us end up having to be, starkly declaring I'm not with anybody right now. How do you navigate that and not fall back into that mode of, wow, at a 40 people at this guy's party, there were 18 couples or whatever. How do you do that?
My friends and family would be surprised if I showed up with someone. They were like, "Oh, what the hell? Where did he come from?" Because I'm just not the person who has to take. I'm not the person who ever has to take anyone somewhere with me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what I'm hearing from the both of you is we already have a society in America that looks upon single people differently.
Mm-hmm.
There's something normal about being coupled, and there's something, like you just said, oh, who are you seeing? Or you were seeing that person. Are you guys, getting serious? There's always this pressure of probing about, your relationships. And nobody just says, are you happy?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're coupled or single, are you just happy? We don't do that.
Because people don't know how to be happy.
And
I just don't.
Is it
I'm not
harder to be
saying.
happy single? Is it harder?
I think it's hard to be happy in a relationship. That sounds
Oh,
so
yeah.
horrible.
No,
But for me,
it can be hard. Yeah.
it can be. If you're not happy in the relationship, and I'm not saying, listen, guys, I know we're not happy every day. I know you argue. I know you have disagreements. I know you love each other. You're going to come back. What I'm saying, just truly happy. Like, I woke up this morning, I have so much peace. Talking to Richard earlier, I was just woke up happy this morning, just at peace and calm. And if I can't have that peace with someone laying beside me, then I'm fine, single.
Oh my gosh. I can't tell you how many years I were in these bad relationships when I was dating. And
Oh,
I would
yeah.
be like, you know what? This is it. I cannot start the new year in this bad situation. I'm not happy. New Year's is it, buddy. Like, this is as far as you're gonna go, because I'm not wasting another year with you, dragging you around.
If I could
Like,
just make it to December 31st,
yes, that's it. December 31st, boy, you are getting cut off.
man, you at
Bye-bye.
midnight, no kids for you at midnight. It's
No,
gonna be
let's see
a
if I don't even
kick out
show
the
up.
door.
Yes. Because I mean, right? It's at the time of the year that you really think about, wow, this is really not working. Well, wow, I'm not really happy. And the prospect of, ushering in a new year and you are unhappy, man, that is painful.
Big
That is
time.
painful.
Big time. I got to tell you, in the middle of the dark periods of my marriage, watching the clock tick down and going, another year over. Another year of my life has expired. I guess my birthday is actually another year of my life, but calendar wise, it was like,
right.
Oh my God, I'm entering 2011 or whatever, and I'm still stuck in the same place emotionally. What is wrong with me that I can't find a way out of this, one way or the other? Fix the marriage or fix myself or whatever. And it's unfortunate that Christmas comes right before New Year's. So now the holidays are infected with this whole end of the year thing. I mean, all the company parties, that's it. You go to the company Christmas party, and people start disappearing. They start taking their vacation time, their PTO, and it does kind of feel like the end of something. And there you are. You go home to your solo apartment, and you're like, so and so told me they were going skiing with their girlfriend, and so told me they were doing this, and it can really weigh on you. To me, I always think like a control freak, and I tell people all the time, well, what can you control? You cannot control someone finding you on Match.com. You can't. You can try to game the system all you want. It's solely up to chance. You cannot control finding somebody and wooing your way into their heart. They're going to make that choice. What you can control is how you respond to each one of those situations. And if you're starting from a place of a strong self-love, a strong self-esteem, you can control that. You can. And that's kind of what I think I did during those dark periods of my marriage, is I was looking at myself going, well, you know what? Here I am on New Year's Eve, and I'm like baking all these appetizers for the kids, and I'm trying to entertain them. And we got balloons all over the den, and and I went and bought them the what was the sparkling cider stuff that we used to get the kids, so they had their own champagne.
Oh yeah.
The Welch's.
And
The
I would say to
Welch's
myself,
sparkling
right, the sparkling Welch's, and I would say to myself, you know what, Rich? How many dads do this for their kids?
Mm.
Love yourself for the fact that you're doing this for your children. And Rich, you know what? If you love yourself enough as the dad that you're being, if this other person who's upstairs in their bedroom doesn't want to be your partner, there's got to be a woman out there looking for a guy like you. But she's not going to do it if she doesn't understand how much you love the dad that you've become. And so I would have these like dialogues with myself while the kids were bouncing off the wall going, you're here right now. You're doing this for them, and you should be proud of yourself. Feel good about it, because you can control that. And that's kind of what I went through year after year, was saying, be kind to yourself. You're doing
So
a
you were
great
coaching
job.
yourself along, cheering yourself along.
You have
He's
to.
like little train that could. I think I can. I think I can.
Yeah. Yes.
I think I can do this.
Wow.
It sounds corny, but you really do. I remember when my mom passed, and I was thinking like, losing a parent is hard. But anyway, and my aunt said to me, she said, stop, think about all the good things. So I think if we stop dwelling on what we don't have, and it's gonna sound corny, I get it, guys, but just be thankful for what you do have, things will get better. It will.
They
And I
typically
also think
do.
we should remove ourselves from the environment. Sometimes it was just my daughter and I. Sometimes we would go get us a nice hotel room for the weekend, just sort of hang out and order room service. I think we've all had those times where you're lonely, you don't feel well, you're not in a good environment, and like Richard, you got to talk yourself through it. You know, I'm so grateful those days are gone.
When you come out the other end and you're like, okay, that wasn't so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And you're that much stronger. And that to me is my biggest advice for the holidays, for anybody who's like lamenting whatever they consider their singleness or loneliness, is, you know what? Focus on making it a great day for yourself, or whatever. You're going to go to the family Christmas party without somebody there and everybody else is coupled, whatever. Have a great time at the Christmas party. You can do that. You can do that. You can listen to other people's jokes. You can give nice, heartwarming gifts. You can, even if it's not Mariah Carey, enjoy some Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Jingle Bells is not about, well, actually, no, isn't there a scene where there is a couple in that song?
Now I'm thinking Jingle Bell Rock, but you're thinking the real Jingle Bell.
Jingle Bell Rock is better. You're right. Rocking it around the
Yeah.
Christmas tree. Anybody can rock around the Christmas tree, whether you got a dance partner or not.
If you are single during the holidays and you are thinking about, all these couples that are surrounding you, I think you need to prime your space and start hanging out with some single friends. Because if you're single and you are surrounded by couples, it's just going to make it so much worse, right? So find yourself a couple of single friends, come up with your own traditions while you're single. You know, we can always call it friends. For Thanksgiving, we call it
Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving,
Friendsgiving. Yeah,
right?
that's what my
Yep.
daughter and her friends do. They do
Yep.
Friendsgiving. Or,
In the
like,
military, that's what we did in the military. We just like, oh, and we now we always make sure, like, okay, whoever's single in the unit, are you guys going home? If you're not going home, then we're going to celebrate together. You know, we make sure we took care of each other, that nobody had to spend the holidays at home by themselves. But you kind of have to set the tone for that. You know, set yourself up for I'm sorry, for success by surrounding yourself with the right people in the right environment. You know, I think it's important.
I mean, I'm not gonna mince words about it. It can be tough because society does put a lot of expectations on us and a lot of ideas in our heads, and it's hard to shake it. And that's why I keep coming back to, okay, so what does that say about you? What does it say about you that society can shape your happiness? And seriously think about that. Don't, it's not a throwaway line. I'm saying it because I'm trying to give you the tools to be happy in any situation. There's a thing about, trying to remember the aphorism in Buddhism where, enlightenment doesn't mean you're happy and grateful in good situations. It means you're happy and grateful in any situation, that you can look at any situation and see some kind of goodness coming out of it. So like I said, when I was, spending those New Year's Eves with the kids, or even very frankly, I mean, there were, Christmas eves where this other person in my life was upstairs locked in her room and I'm downstairs with the kids watching videos of, Snoopy's Christmas or Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. And I'm like, okay, I'm grateful that I've got healthy children, that it's cold outside and there's heat in the house, that we got a fire in the fireplace, that, the kids seem to be happy and excited that Santa Claus is coming tonight. And you just, I had to find happiness there and not be so focused on the fact that it was another Christmas technically alone. How many nights, guys, I'll tell you, I'm on the couch in the den where the Christmas tree was, just enjoying the lights, the sparkling lights on the Christmas tree.
While she was locked up upstairs. See, my personality won't let me do that. I would have to turn the whole house out. Because I mean, I'm the type, if you ever been in a situation, you're like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. Then me, because I'm a Libra and we're pretty calm. But once we get ticked off, it's just done. And I don't even want to blame it on Libra. That's just me. We can knock the horoscope out of it. I probably went up there and kicked the door down and ruined everybody's Christmas. Because I'm gonna cut the food.
There's kids in the house.
I'm sorry. And I never I never fought anybody or argued in front of my daughter. But I'm sorry. I at some point, and I applaud you because I probably would have kicked the door down and landed with my hands around her throat. Like, you're going to get the fuck up out this bed and come down here and put your kids before your miserable self.
Well, I mean,
you're going to leave.
Her big thing was she'd be upstairs wrapping their presents. She couldn't wrap the presents prior to Christmas Eve. Funny enough, that was the way her mother was as well. Her mother, like Christmas Eve, was about wrap, and set everything up so pretty. And yet, there was no family bonding time because they were all so busy getting ready for Christmas Eve that Christmas Eve happened and it was gone in a heartbeat. And, it was about tape and scissors and boxes.
Okay, so the kids didn't feel like she was avoiding everyone in their psyche. So here's where I would have the problem.
I don't know what the kids actually felt because I never asked.
If the kids thought, oh, she's just up there wrapping out gifts and she's happy, I wouldn't nut up. But if she's up there being a lump on the log and the kids are aware that she's cutting herself off, I would cut up.
No, but I mean, if you had young kids and you're still trying to keep the tradition of Santa Claus coming, why is she wrapping gifts, right?
Because I wasn't allowed to.
Can
Uh,
you ask your significant other to give you a hug for us? Because you need a hug right now. I mean, I'm
There
telling
was
you.
control issues in that household. There were major control issues. But
wow.
like even after two of my kids moved in with me full time. And even those first few Christmases, I was dating somebody, but they weren't in my home with me. And we were still figuring out whether or not that was even going to work out. And Christmases were still technically alone. I Christmas Eve, Christmas Day morning. I think Lisa spent one Christmas with us. But even then, it was just grateful that, the kids were all together, after an ugly divorce, and they were happy, and seeing them now, we're all older. That this is a podcast for people who are older. When you start to see your children as adults interacting with each other at the holidays, it is so freaking cool. They're planning each other's gifts. Sometimes you find out the two of them got together to talk about the third one. And it's like, yeah, even if I don't have anybody in my life, look at what I built over these years. I built 3 healthy adults who care about each other, and they're trying to make this thing work, under dire circumstances. And can that lift you up out of the I don't have anybody right now? I don't know. It's such an individual thing. All of this is individual. How you date is individual. How you feel about yourself is individual. How you feel about yourself in the holidays is individual. But we all keep coming back to the same point. You control all of that. You do. Now, if you have clinical depression, you may not control it. It's a chemical issue. But if it's not a chemical issue, you control your happiness. It's a choice.
Yeah. What you choose to focus on. Listen, guys, I'm worried because the only concern I have this Christmas is that Aaliyah's father is trying to convince her that Santa Claus does not need milk and cookies. He needs beer and pizza.
Oh, geez. Oh, geez.
I'm like,
my kind of Santa Claus.
Listen, please don't ruin this. Could you please? Because she told me the other day, she said, Mommy, Bobby is going to trying to tell me that Santa, we're going to leave Santa pizza. And I'm like, that's not going to work, Mommy. And I'm like, well, you hang on, girl. You tell your dad that's not acceptable.
The damage has been done. She's going to go to school and tell all her friends.
And you know what, Brenda, you just brought up
it could be funny though.
You just brought up a great point. Is it's not just at our age, it's not just the fact that you may not have a significant other in your life, but you've also got the complications. If you're a parent, where are your kids? And if they are with the other parent, that can accentuate the sense of loneliness, especially if you're an only child, if your family lives far away and you don't want to get on a plane and go see them. And that can feel more isolating as an older dater is, now you get the double whammy. Yeah. So Brenda, are you choosing to are you going to a resort somewhere? What are you going to treat yourself? Go to a spa? You're a single lady with all the time in the world.
Okay.
No. I have no plans. I have no plans. We're flying into Atlanta. I'm probably going to see a few friends. And then I am going to get my little happy butt back into the plane and come back home. Okay. I have friends here. They always get together for the holidays. My neighbor just told me they're going to do a little street party the day after Christmas. So I'm sure I will find something to get into here.
If you can be planful and get out in front of it, to do something for yourself that, puts you in a setting. My kids last 2 years ago, before COVID, 3 years ago, right? This is the second Christmas in COVID. 3 years ago, my 2 eldest, because my youngest child does spend Christmas Day with his mother's family. They said to me, Dad, we want to go volunteer and do something. And a friend of mine runs a food pantry kitchen out of his restaurant on Christmas Day. And that's what we did for Christmas Day. So, there's other things you can do if you're planful, to be amongst other people, to not feel alone, to do something wonderful at a time when giving to others can also be a gift to yourself. That's another option to turn, the difficult times into something happy. When we were delivering these meals to these homes of people struggling financially, yeah, it kind of reminded us all how lucky we were. And, granted, I was with two of my kids, so I wasn't completely alone, but, that's the kind of stuff you can do to get through these hard times,
No, I
especially
agree.
with COVID.
Yeah, I agree. That's a nice reframe, actually. You can just focus on giving back to someone else. I think that's a
Yeah.
really great idea.
Yeah. Nothing makes you feel better than someone grateful that you did something for them. I mean, it's just a great feeling.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I spent Thanksgiving after Sandy came through and destroyed New York City. I spent that Thanksgiving at a food pantry kitchen in Lower Brooklyn, right near the Verrazano Bridge. And even though I wasn't with my kids that day, Thanksgiving's a very important day to me because that was my mom's favorite holiday. Even though I was alone, I had a freaking blast. I met total strangers who just were there to give to others. The cooks in the kitchen became my friends. I think we pumped out like 3,000 meals in about 6 hours. It was such an uplifting experience, and I spent pretty much the whole day alone. I did go to a friend's house that afternoon for Thanksgiving dinner in Brooklyn, but pretty much my Thanksgiving was by myself, and I think it was one of my best Thanksgivings ever. So you can do stuff to turn the lemons into lemonade.
I agree.
But it's all a choice, because if you don't choose to do it, you're shit out of luck.
Choose happiness, right? Choose happiness. Do you
Choose
choose
That's
it?
right.
Choose
Yeah.
happiness.
I just, it saddens me that we've converted Christmas into this kind of experience where so many people, I mean, I hear it all the time. You start seeing the ads, the mental health ads, right around Thanksgiving. The holidays can be really difficult. Check in on your friends and check in on the people who are alone. And, this is the highest time for depression and suicide. And holy crap, what did we do to Christmas that we've all made it, compounding people's difficulties?
It's the commercialization. Everything is commercial. It's all about the families. Everybody doesn't have a heartwarming family that they want to be around.
Yeah.
Especially the last 5 or 6 years apart. And I'm not making this political. I'm just saying, it's been a tense 5 or 6 years politically.
It has been. Yeah.
So that changed the whole dynamics of some families. And so I would think that contributes to even more loneliness, because
yes, it does.
we did have this family,
It changed the dynamics in my family, my ex family. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
We did a family Zoom during COVID. We started a family Zoom. So maybe that's something that some family members can do. You are home. I almost feel like we need to Zoom for the show. I mean, you are home. Everybody dialed in, and it was just really cool. We were supposed to be on there 30 minutes or an hour. We were there like 4 or 5 hours. And people just started coming in and going out. Just people were popping in and popping out the whole time. And that was sort of fun. So jump on a Zoom if you're like me and still want to be, separated due to COVID. But
that's a great idea. That's a great idea, Tonya.
I think I called it like the Johnson COVID hangover or the COVID hangout room or something. We would say we had so much fun just hanging out.
One year on New Year's Day, I went for a run in the mountains with my dog, not DJ, with Sophie. And even though I wasn't with a woman on New Year's Eve that year, I was okay. I was out, I was breathing, filling my lungs with oxygen. It was cold, crisp morning. It was a little slippery and icy. I'll never forget, because it's a trail that doesn't get a lot of sunlight. And it was just invigorating to come down off that mountain on New Year's Day saying, Yeah, I don't have a woman in my life right now, and it's, you know, it's not optimal for me. I do enjoy the company of a significant other. Um, but you know what? Look at what I just did. Look how beautiful it was. Look at the experiences that I had. So, you know, so many things depending upon who you are, what you enjoy doing, whether or not you're open to volunteering. You know, if you're a part of a church, you know, certainly there's a group that might be able to help you feel less lonely because you've got a social environment, a like-minded social environment you can participate in. Just, you got to think about it. But in the end, I also just want to remind everybody how we started this podcast. It is a time for you to fall in love with yourself, to give yourself the ultimate gift, self-love. If you do that over the holidays and you're serious about dating in the coming year, you have such a better chance of finally finding someone that you can have a long-term relationship with, because they're going to see you caring so much about yourself and so confident about who you are. It just makes it so much easier for someone to say, you caught my eye. So that ultimately to me is the best advice. Just fall in love with yourself this holiday season and give yourself that gift.
I love it.
Okay, so we are going to wrap up our second December episode. We will be heading into our next episode next week. Will be about conversation killers on first dates. What can you say? What have you heard said on a first date that totally destroyed the occasion? I actually have a couple of those, so I'm going to bring a couple of mine. We will take the week off for Christmas. We'll be back with one last episode for 2021 right before New Year's. How we're going to pull that off, I'm not sure, because Tonya is taking some time out for herself. She'll be traveling and on a beautiful island in the Caribbean. So we're gonna see if we can get her live, or at the very least, we'll have her be a part of the show. Thank you so much, Brenda and Tonya. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend, and see you all next week.